So it's the new financial tax year, and that means there's the big ISA decision that needs to be made. Each financial tax year, you can only pay a combined 20k into ISAs, and you can only pay into one stocks and shares ISA and one cash ISA. So this decision is a big one. In this video, we're going to discuss the best stocks and shares ISA based on your investing style and your needs. As always, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm simply sharing my opinion on the research I've done for my own research, for my own purposes. If you're going to take out any financial product, make sure you do your own research. I will leave links all down below of the people we discuss in case you want to check them out further. Before we discuss any new ISAs, it's worth noting that you can just stick with your old one. So if you're happy with the service you're getting and the product you've got, you can just continue to pay into it. Likewise, if you have an old ISA and you open up a new one this financial tax year, you're free to leave your old ISA as it is and still switch the investments within that ISA. Or if you're not happy and you want to move your ISA over to your new one this year, you can just fill out an ISA transfer request form, and that means you might have to sell the investments within your old ISA in order to transfer the cash value over to your new one and then rebuy the investments, but it is an option. Now, we are mostly going to discuss the stocks and shares options, but it's worth mentioning the cash ISA. But with this, it comes with a massive warning. Inflation in the UK is currently over 6%, no signs of slowing down. And with the best I could find anyway, instant cash ISA from someone like Marcus, you're getting a measly 1% on your returns. And if you locked in for 2 to 5 years, you can get that up to about 2%. But even then, you're losing 4% on your money, guaranteed. And in my eyes, this simply isn't worth it. I'd rather have a go at making more of my money than guaranteeing myself to get less money by the end of the year. So the two main categories for stocks and shares ISA are ETFs and index fund based accounts, and then we have individual stock based accounts. So the first one, ETFs and index funds, really is what I see as where beginners should start. And maybe you continue on that path the whole time you're investing, but definitely start with ETFs and index funds. It takes out some of the roller coaster boom and busts of individual stocks. You don't have to research into hundreds of companies. You don't have to understand balance sheets. You don't have to keep up to date with all these companies. You simply pick a fund that represents the investment choices you want to make or the market you want to go into, and the fund does the rest. It picks up and drops companies as they grow and decline, leaving for a less stressful way of investing. So with that being said, there really are only two things I look for as a main when I look at ETF and indexed fund based ISAs, and that's the cost of the ISA or what it's going to cost you overall, and the choice of the funds that you actually have to invest in. Anything else like features they have, if they have apps, how easy they are to use, these are all secondary things, and they would always come after my first two big lookouts. So in this category, I'm a little bit torn, so I've gone for three. Starting off, we have Trading 212. So Trading 212 is great. It's really, really low and no cost. You have no cost for having an ISA. You have no platform fee. You have no cost for buying funds, and you have no cost for depositing money or withdrawing money. As long as you do it by bank transfer, it's completely free. Now, on any ETF or index fund, you have an annual management fee, and this is, you cannot get out of paying it pretty much. Everyone charges it, no matter who provides the fund itself. But these are baked into the cost of the fund, and they're extremely, extremely low. For example, the S&P 500 Vanguard index fund is 0.07% annual fee. And like I said, you can't get out of paying it, so you pay this no matter where you go. Now, Trading 212 do charge something called FX fees. And these are basically fees for buying funds that aren't in your own currency. So if I put in pounds into my account, I want to buy a fund that was in dollars, I would pay a 0.15% fee in order to do so. Now, some people charge a lot more than this. This is a really low fee, but it's a fee nonetheless. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, Trading 212 would have almost been a contender for my top spot, apart from one big issue. You can't just go and sign up. You have to join a wait list, and there's no telling how long that wait list is. So with that, it's really hard to recommend it, but what I would suggest is going to join the waitlist. If you don't end up using it, you don't use it, but it means in the future you have that option available to you. And when we get later on in the video, you're going to see why that's very important. Next up, we have the daddy of index funds, and that's Vanguard. Trusted by over 30 million users, and who I used last year and continue to use this year for my pension. Again, like any other provider, we have that annual management fee of the fund. Again, these are really low, but unfortunately Vanguard do charge a platform fee of 0.15%. Although the platform fee is very low, it's not free. This is something I think they might change in the future, but for now it is what it is. But what is free is if you have an ISA, you don't pay for that. If you want to buy a fund, you don't pay for that. And when you withdraw and deposit money, you don't pay for that either. So it is a very low cost option. Now, they only offer their own funds, and they offer around 80 of those funds. Oddly, they don't offer all their own funds. There are some funds that they do which aren't available on their own website. Why that is, I have no idea. But either way, there's a broad enough range of funds to suit most people's investment needs. They also have their target retirement funds, which are funds I absolutely love. This is a sort of robo-style fund, and what it does, it automatically changes the weighting from stocks to bonds as you get older. So you pick a date of when you want to retire, and it reduces the risk as you get closer to that day. It's a fantastic little group of funds. And they also do their ever popular life strategy funds. And these are funds that are split between stocks and bonds in a risk portfolio that fits your criteria. So if I wanted to be quite risky, I could pick an 80% fund, so it'd be 80% stocks and 20% bonds. And that way it makes it a lot more passive. I just pick that fund, pay into that fund, and Vanguard does the rest. Now, they don't have an app, and for me this is a bad thing. For you it might be a good thing, I don't know. But there's enough choice to get going, and there's not too much choice, so it baffles you. So it really is a great place to start out. Next up, we have InvestEngine. And InvestEngine is much the same as Vanguard. It offers ETFs. It offers Vanguard ETFs, but it also offers ETFs from other providers, giving you a much wider choice. Over 500 choices to be exact, compared to Vanguard's 80. Now, with those funds, you will pay your annual management fee like you will with everybody else, but there's a big difference. They don't charge a platform fee. So that 0.15% you pay with Vanguard, you don't pay with InvestEngine. You don't pay to have an ISA, you don't pay to put money in, you don't pay to put money out, and you don't pay when you buy a fund. This really is the best low cost option for anyone out there that I can see anyway. If you can find a better one, please let me know about it. Now, I know that I said that features and apps and things like that are all secondary, but I had to mention InvestEngine's features. And the one that I really love is a preset option, so you can just set up the funds that you want, say 20% of this fund, 40% of this fund, 30% of this fund, and then once you've set up and got your 100% allocation, you just deposit money, and you can make it so that it automatically splits it into those individual funds that you've predetermined, pre-picked, making it truly passive. It then makes it really easy to see where your money's actually invested, over what sectors and into what groups of assets that you're actually buying into. And this is really helpful in case you have investments over a multitude of platforms, because you can say, oh, I've got loads of money in EVs over here, and in this pile over here I've got none, but oh, actually I've got a little bit of I don't know, property in this one and property in this one. So I add them together, I've got a larger weighting of property than I actually wanted, so I need to do something about that. It really is handy, and it's something I've never really seen before on any other app or any other website. And of course, hopefully your investments grow, but they can grow at different levels. So one might be going up higher than the other, and as such you end up with an unbalanced portfolio if that's what you've tried to set up, is a balanced portfolio. So what you can do is you can just push one button, re-click and rebalance, and that just changes the weighting and brings them back in line with what you might set originally. Now, this is something you shouldn't do all the time, maybe once a year or something like that, twice a year at most, but it's a really handy feature if one of your weightings gets majorly out of control. Now, they also offer managed funds, and this is a fund where someone does all the picking for you, and you can either have growth or income with InvestEngine. So you pick one of those two, you deposit money whenever you want to deposit money, and someone else does the rest. Now, this does come at a cost, and that is 0.25%, but this is extremely low for this sort of service. And if you want to make it truly passive and you don't really want to do all the research yourself, this is a great option. Overall, I think this is a great platform for people that want to get into ETF investing and that don't get baffled by lots and lots of choice, and you're willing to trust someone who's relatively new in the game, unlike Vanguard, who's been around for donkeys of years. If you want to sign up, you do get £25 when you deposit 100 if you use the link below, but as always, do your own research first. Next, we have the individual stocks, and this is always much riskier. Yes, there's higher reward, but there's also higher risk. This is not for beginners. Now, unfortunately, with these ISAs, you're going to have to pay. There's no way around it. The costs are higher. There's a lack of competition, and as a result, people can charge what they like. I'd love to be able to tell you that Vanguard or InvestEngine is a place to go again here, but it isn't. They don't do individual stocks, so they're out the windows. And other companies such as HL or some of the bigger companies charge massive fees all over the place. FX fees, platform fees, dealing fees up to £15 per stock. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So a lot of them are gone as well. Now, remember what I was saying earlier about Trading 212? Well, Trading 212 is the clear winner in this category. You have the 0.15% FX fee, say if I'm buying American stocks, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is free. You've got no platform fee, you've got no dealing fee, you've got no withdrawal, no deposit fee. This really is the best, but of course you can't just go and open an account. Now, I don't know what they're doing, they are sorting it out, but it is taking ages. They have so much choice, over 10,000 stocks and ETFs. That's right, you can have your ETFs and your individual stocks all in the same account. It's just such a shame that you can't just go and open an account. Now, if you already have an invest account, which is what I had, they will allow you to go and open an ISA straight away. That's why it's so important you join the waitlist, so that next year you have this option available to you. Now, if it was up to me, I would either go with 212 if I could, or if I couldn't, I'd probably just stick with an ETF or index fund ISA this year, join the waitlist, and by next year I would then be able to join 212 if I wanted to, and if there wasn't other competition available, because it really is the best one out there. If you really couldn't join an ETF or index fund ISA and you had to have individual stocks within an ISA, then I'm afraid it's a case of the best of a bad bunch, and I would think that's going to be Freetrade, although it shouldn't be called Freetrade because it's not free, and that bugs me. And there's a few things that bug me about Freetrade, so let's get into it. The first of which is that if you want to buy certain types of stocks, and these tend to be the smaller ones but sometimes the more profitable ones, you have to pay $10.99 a month in order to get Freetrade Plus, which allows you the privilege of buying these stocks and selling these stocks. Great. Now, there is one little hack to be had here, which is what I did. It won't work for everybody. What I did was I built up my cash, and then I would pay for Freetrade Plus. I'd pay $9.99 for the month, and I'd buy the small stocks I wanted to buy. I would then cancel Freetrade Plus, and it would stop charging me that monthly fee. It would then allow me to hold those stocks, and I would just build up my cash again until a couple of months later I wanted to buy some more. I would then buy Freetrade Plus, once again $9.99 a month, and then I would buy the stocks and cancel it again. This is a bit of a rubbish way of doing it, but it does save you having to pay 120 quid a year just to be able to buy certain amounts of stock. Next up, we have a cost to have an ISA. Yes, if you want to have an ISA, you have to pay £3 a month. Now, this doesn't seem like a lot of money, but if you only have a really small pot, this is quite a large amount. If you have a big pot, then it really is nothing, and it's not as much as some other people's platform fees. So it's a bit of a toss-up. But if you're starting out, it's going to be expensive until you get bigger amounts of money in that fund or in that ISA. Now, like a lot of other platforms, there are conversion fees or FX fees when you buy in different currencies. But unfortunately on Freetrade, they're quite expensive, 0.45%. So with 212, we had 0.15%. So this is 3 times the cost of that. Now, they are better than some others, but they're still quite high. But if you want to buy in different currencies, this is the price you're going to have to pay with Freetrade. However, credit where credit's due. If you're buying stocks that aren't inside of Freetrade Plus, then there's no fee for buying, there's no fee for withdrawals, and there's no fee for deposits. So there are some pluses to this platform. It really is a case of the best of a bad bunch. Now, if you know any others, let me know in the comments down below. I know that Interact Invest is quite good, but again, Freetrade is what I chose. Now, next year I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more choice. I'm hoping 212 opens their doors, and others that have got ISAs in the pipeline actually bring them out in time for the next financial tax year. Competition is always healthy. It helps the whole process. It helps improve services. It helps bring down costs. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Join that 212 waitlist, give yourself the option. Even if you don't end up using the platform, let me know your top picks down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.